A lot of us are in hermit mode at the moment. Um, it really feels like it's necessary, a lot more than it ever was before. Um, I know I do, and a lot of people that I hear on YouTube, and even some others that I do happen to occasion upon in my actual life, do feel this overwhelming need to take the space for themselves and just contemplate and process everything that's going on, how we got to this place where we are, collectively as well as particularly personally. Um, you know, who we were and who perhaps we are currently. And then who we're becoming, or who we want to become, in light of these new times that we're entering, and why we're making that choice to perceive things in that way, to not want to just go with the crowd, maybe to make our own way, and what we're basing that choice upon. So being very intentional and thoughtful, introspective, and really being around people while you're trying to do that, it's just not helpful. Their inputs can so often cloud you connecting with yourself and the way you truly feel. You don't get enough of the silence that enables you to get deeper in the layers. So that's something I definitely connect with. I definitely in hermit mode myself. And that's one reason for it. But I will say that I suspect there's really another reason. Perhaps of many, but another significant reason. People have really changed. And not in a good way. Yeah, there are a lot of people out here, probably yourself included, that is changing for the better, doing the work, contemplating, having some humility, just like understanding maybe where you went wrong, where you were right but didn't stick up for yourself, doing inner child work or shadow work, allowing yourself to be who you are, more away from all the noise. But yeah, a lot of people are not doing that, and they're changing, and it's rough. It's becoming more difficult to discern what people's agendas and motivations are. That's what I'll say. Last night I was at home, minding my own business, around 8 o'clock in the evening, and there was a loud banging at the front door, very aggressive. I went to answer, and it was the next door neighbor, a woman in her perhaps mid-20s, demanding that I open the screen door, which I'd left closed, so she could see my face. Essentially, she rocked up. Mind you, I've never spoken to her before. I've just seen her. in passing, maybe given a half smile as you do to people in your neighborhood, but I don't know her from, what did they say, a bag of sticks. And she just launches into an interrogation about how many people are living in my house, asking questions about my landlady, who she does know, asking the cost of the rent, like a whole bunch of invasive questions about myself and the other people living in the house. And I answer a few of the questions reservedly, but essentially I give her the same energy she's giving me, in my body and in my demeanor. And what's odd is it was like she felt victimized by my behavior towards her. I wasn't rude, but I was very stern and stoic. Because if you rock up at my door at night, banging like an intruder, demand that I open the door so you can see my face, don't introduce yourself or tell me why you're there, and just launch into an interrogation on my business, yeah, I'm just not going to invite you in for a cup of tea, we'll put it that way. But yeah, she gave me this very strange look, which is the kind of look you give someone when they're being very, very unfair to you and you're hurt and discombobulated, like, why are you doing this to me? That was the look. And I just looked straight back at her. I hadn't really had time to process in that moment. I actually was in fight mode because of her manner. I was like, yeah, I don't know if this person is going to arc up. I don't understand what's going on here. I asked her, like, what is this about? And she had this strange whiny response of, oh, I'm just asking. Like, I mean, what the hell? It was extremely odd, is what I'll say. And I consulted with my other flatmate later, and he was just confused as well, because he said that, like, because he's been living there longer than myself, he's seen her around, but she was always quiet and introverted. Well, so then what? Now what? And yeah, I could make a lot of excuses for her behavior, but I'm not going to. The fact is, this is the sort of thing that we're seeing from people out of the blue. I'm sure that many of you have similar stories yourself. Inexplicable behavior and concerning behavior. And yeah, not just from people that we've known perhaps for many years, which is the case for me too. People I've known for many years, and their behavior doesn't vibe with who I thought they were, and it's also not an improvement on who I thought they were. And it's confusing. This is a time of confusion if you haven't noticed. But yeah, aside from people we know, people in the larger community, just in our cities and towns and neighborhoods, behaving strangely. And the reason I didn't want to make an excuse for her or give an explanation for her is because that's what we've done. We've done that our whole lives, many of us. We see things that it doesn't sit right, it doesn't feel correct. Our intuition is telling us something's off, and we explain it away. And in these times, that just isn't the stance to take, I don't think. Yeah. So if you have similar comments, like on stories like this, it's good for us to share these things. It's happening to a lot of us, and we're noticing it. A lot of us are noticing it, and it really doesn't do us any good to quiet that still small voice that's saying something's off, something's wrong. So, if you're in hermit mode, like me, and you're looking after yourself, loving on you, and if you're keeping yourself safe and away from these energies that just aren't yours, it's a good thing. Because I don't have an explanation for why all of this is happening. But I'll make an assertion here based on my own intuition and observation. These people don't seem to be in control of the behaviors they're exhibiting. And I think a lot of them are acting unconsciously and are also not privy to what's pulling their strings. So if you agree with me, I'm sure that we should consider the gravity of that. And yeah, like I said, hermit mode ain't bad. If you're in hermit mode, I think it's very wise.